What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Cocktails in the War Room, episode 230. And if you have been here with me the whole time for the last 3 years or so, you may notice that the show looks a little different tonight. For only what I believe is the second time ever, we have actually had to move to MCHQ to do the show because there's a technical problem in the War Room. So if you're new to the War Room, first of all, welcome. Let us know in the comments that you have never joined us for Cocktails in the War Room before, and let us know where you're watching from so we can all welcome you properly. But normally we're in the actual room in my house that we call the War Room, which is where the bar is, which is where my collection of military memorabilia is. And MCHQ, which is where I am now, is actually where I record the Mistress Carrie podcast and a lot of the radio stuff that I do. And if you were watching the show last week, which we now call the clusterfuck episode, you know that there were serious technical difficulties with last week's show. Now, while I had theorized that it was because I'm doing a little construction at the house and the previous owners, I think are still looming around the house, and don't like it when I do construction, or at least not that they don't like it, but that they want to supervise and make sure that I'm taking care of the house properly. And things always are weird whenever I'm doing modifications to the house. Last week on Cocktails in the War Room, the show was completely screwed up. So I want to kind of pull the curtain back a little bit and let you guys kind of know how Cocktails in the War Room gets put together. So normally what I do is I build the show, all of the different scenes with the graphics and the scrolling and the text and all that. I build it on the main computer here in MCHQ. And then before we get ready to go into the War Room with the other computer, the portable one, I migrate the show over to the other computer, and then I take that computer in the War Room and get it all set up, because the War Room is like, it's a TV room in my house, so it's not set up for the show all the time. So every week I bring the microphones in there, set up the cameras, do all of that stuff. And when the show's over, I take it all apart and move it out of there so that if I have friends over, we can hang out in the War Room. Well, last week the show was just a complete clusterfuck. And if you go back on my YouTube channel or in the Facebook videos, you can see what a disaster it was. Some people are commenting that there's sound issues now. Are you guys having sound issues now? Hold on, I'm trying to catch up with the comments here. I can hear her okay. Let's see. Keith said, oh my God, the mistakes last week. We got drunking funk. Yeah, exactly. Mark, what do you mean there's sound issues? It sounds different because I'm now in a soundproof room, whereas when I do the War Room, it's obviously not soundproof because it wasn't built to be a studio like MCHQ is. Mark says, I can't hear you. Everybody else says they can hear me fine, Mark. I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know. Everything seems to be okay for everybody else. Lisa says, what a difference. Yeah, this is MCHQ. So anyway, to finish telling you guys what happened. So last week I built the show, sent it over to the War Room computer, and for some reason it didn't work right. So I did a bunch of homework on it. Come to find out, the software that we run the show in needed like massive updates. So I installed the updates on MCHQ's computer and on the War Room computer as well, and built the show this week. Everything was fine. And the same problem is happening this week that happened last week, except this week I caught it in the transfer. Richard says, I can hear her better level than last week. It was a bit too hot last week. Mark, unmute it, says Annette. What's going on, Will? What's up, Dave in Springfield, Mass? Donna says, go out and come back in. Maybe. The lights are flickering, and that is part of something that's going on here in MCHQ. So there's a lot going on. So I've updated all the software, but for some reason, the War Room computer is really jacked up right now. And because of our big event happening on Saturday, I'm having experts look at it because it needs to get figured out because I need it to work for the big party on Saturday. Now, come here. Now, because we're not in the War Room, we don't have a pug cam. Wednesday has been coming to work with me every day since her best friend Zero died. She hangs out with me here in the studio all the time. She's got serious separation anxiety. And now all I have to do is say, Wednesday, come on, it's time to go to work. Let's go to the studio. And she runs into the studio. I've installed a dog bed in here for her. And most of the time, she just hangs out in here with me. So say what's up, Wednesday. Say hi. What's everybody doing? Penny says, shite, is that this Saturday? Yeah, the War Room event is this Saturday. So we got to talk about this. There's Wednesday. Say hi. Wednesday, Jessica says hi. Say hi, Jessica. Oh, I know. Say hi. Let's see. Am I going? Yeah, Keith, I'm going. Obviously, I have to go if we're going to do the show from there. Donna, she is behaving in here pretty well, actually. Sometimes I have to take her outside and run her around a little bit because if she's got the zoomies and she's got a little bit too much excitement going on, she gets mischievous in here if I'm not paying attention to her. But normally, if I take her outside before it's time to record and run her around the yard a little bit, she just comes in here and just falls asleep, which is awesome until she starts snoring. And then I can actually hear that on the microphone sometime. Right, Wednesday? So Annette says, I can't go. Sorry, I'll be with friends in Plymouth. Anyone going from PA or New York that day? Wednesday's such a cutie, says Jessica. Thank you. Oh, my God, her paw. I know she's... Are you being a good girl? Yes, you are. Lisa says she'll be there. Trina says she's going to try and make it, taking about 12 modes of transportation to get there, but I will be there. Forget Stephen King's house. MC's house is the main attraction. Have to work. I am the boss now, says Tracy. So, yeah, the ghost is kind of all over the place. Do you want to get down? Go ahead, get down. So anyway, so the War Room computer is being looked at by experts right now. We're trying to figure out what's going on because I have got to get it fixed. Oh, now she wants to come back up. What are you doing? We're trying to do the show. It's already screwed up. You going to come up? Come here. Come here. Come on. I know. There. Do you want to just hang out with me like that? Here, you want me to just hold you? Okay. Wednesday wants her treat, says Jessica. Well, I don't have any in here. You're killing me. Thank you for all the kisses. I appreciate it. Mark says, I'll be there on Saturday. Marcy says, won't be there, no sitter. Let's see. Michelle says, sorry, I'm late. Michelle, you're going to have to catch up to figure out why it is we're in MCHQ and not in the War Room. Wednesday's licking the microphone. I'm having some issues in here tonight. All right, let's see. You need a little baby carrier for her so that you have free hands. She wouldn't sit in it. I used to have a pug that sat in like a baby Bjorn, and Wednesday wants nothing to do with it. She likes to be carried around a little bit, but not all that much. She just wants to be involved all the time with wherever I am and whatever I'm doing. So Carol says, yes, I am, unless the baby comes. Carol, fingers crossed. If it's a good excuse, if the baby comes, we're willing to deal with that and miss you, but for a good reason. What are you doing? What are you doing? Do you just want to sit on my lap? Is that what you want to do? I'm watching on mute. There is sound issues tonight. That's what Bish says. Bish, I don't understand what is going on with the sound issues. Explain said sound issues, Bish, so that I can try to figure out what's going on. All right, so we got a lot to talk about. I want to run down everything that's going on because our big event is happening on Saturday. So last week I wasn't able to show you pictures. I wasn't able to show you anything. So I want to recap some of the stuff that you guys missed last week. So I know it was a few weeks ago, but I want to congratulate once again John Connolly from Seven Dust for completing the marathon. These are the pictures that I wanted to show you guys. So that's me with John at the finish line. He was really, really cold, but I was like, dude, we got to get a picture. But you can see him right there as he was running by on Hereford Street. I was able to grab some photos. He was in the zone. And that's his finishing time, 3:24:53, which qualifies him for next year's marathon by 7 seconds. I was also telling you guys about my friend, Major General Buzza from the Army that ran the marathon. So I want to say what's up to the Boston firefighters in Jamaica Plain who General Buzza visited after running the marathon. But this is General Buzza right here in all black. And he ended up making the news because he and a total stranger, as soon as they turned the corner onto Boylston Street, that girl collapsed. She just went legless. And so the general and just another runner picked her up and helped her to the finish line. Now, for anybody that doesn't know the specific rules about the marathon, if she gets touched by emergency personnel, paramedics, anybody from off of the course, or even those on the course. If she gets touched by anybody but another runner, she gets disqualified. So a lot of time spectators along the route don't understand why first responders don't rush to help somebody when they're on the ground. And speaking as a runner, you don't want to be disqualified. You want to figure it out. And so General Buzza and that guy were the only ones that could help her, were fellow runners, and they got her across the finish line and she finished. But doing that, General Buzza's time at 3:47:38 does not qualify him for next year. So he's actually got to go and run another marathon somewhere else to be able to get a marathon qualifying time because he qualified to run this year. Some of the other pictures I want to show you from the big gig over the weekend. Here I am backstage with Dorothy, and she's been on the podcast. She's been on the show before. She was like, your hair, oh my God. And she was like, so somebody was taking all of these pictures. So Dorothy and I were trying to take selfies. So this is us selfieing it, and this is the selfie that we were taking that we got caught taking. And then obviously the posed picture. So I put a lot of these up on Instagram and stuff. And so I just wanted to show you guys some of the pictures from the big gig. Also, you may have seen this picture up here. That's Taylor Momsen and the Pretty Reckless. And Taylor was actually asking me what was going on radio-wise. And when I told her that I was the new afternoon host on 106.3 The Bone in Portland, Maine, Taylor actually has a house in Maine. And that's her hometown station. And so when she found out that I was now on the Bone in Portland, she was losing her mind. And that's where the double high five came from. So I thought the Pretty Reckless were absolutely fantastic. Mike Shue and I, right after Breaking Benjamin, right before Breaking Benjamin, after Falling in Reverse, went up on the stage at the DCU Center and took this group crowd shot. So maybe you saw yourself in there. I put it up on Facebook so that people can tag themselves in there. War Room event is coming up this Saturday. It's happening at the Vernon Hill American Legion Post 435. If you are a veteran of any war, if you are friends with veterans, if you're still active duty military, or if you're just a civilian that wants to come and hang out and support local veterans, join us at the American Legion starting at 5 o'clock. The event goes from 5 to 9. Regimental Whiskey is going to be there with specialty cocktails. We're going to be doing a special Saturday episode of Cocktails in the War Room. That's going to go from 7 to 8 at the Legion. And also author Andy Biggio, the author of the book The Rifle, is going to be at the event with some of the World War II veterans that are featured in the first Rifle. And I also believe some of the veterans that are going to be featured in the follow-up, The Rifle 2. So that is happening this Saturday. All the events, the links, everything you need are up in the event calendar at mistresscarrie.com. If you missed the broadcast last Thursday from Polar Park, got to say what's up to Sweet Lou Merlone. They do Throwback Thursdays at Polar Park where they have former Red Sox players come to throw out the first pitch. Lou Merlone used to work at WEEI down the hall from WAF, so I know him really well. He came on the show, Sweet Lou, as they call him. So I want to thank Lou for coming on the show on the Pike on Thursday afternoon. And I am going to be doing more broadcasts from Polar Park during the baseball season. So just keep listening for more days. And also want to remind you about Rockfest, which is coming up September 9th at Indian Ranch with some of the best tribute bands out there, including Best of Foo, Best Shot, Speedwagon, who else is going to be there? Love Sexy, the Prince tribute, is going to be headlining the Rockfest on September 9th. Also, Hairfest is happening August 19th, which is another day filled with amazing tribute bands, including Shot of Poison, The Priest, Welcome to the Jungle, and Osmosis. Hairfest is going to be headlined by the Four Horsemen, the Metallica tribute. And this just got announced. It is the Pike's 19th birthday, headlined at Indian Ranch on September 2nd by George Thorogood and the Destroyers, celebrating 50 years of rock. Tickets for all of these events at Indian Ranch are on sale now, and they are all up on the event calendar at mistresscarrie.com. Two big concert announcements have already come out this week. Yesterday, Aerosmith announced the Peace Out Farewell Tour. And I had been telling you that a big announcement was coming from Aerosmith. A lot of people knew that it was going to be a tour. We didn't realize that it was going to be a farewell tour. Now, the tour is going to kick off in Philly on, I believe, September 2nd. The only New England date as of now is New Year's Eve at the TD Garden, and that is going to be with the Black Crowes opening up the show. They're doing the entire tour. Tickets for Aerosmith go on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. And just kind of a crazy bit of trivia. New Year's Eve 93-94, the guys in Aerosmith played at the old Boston Garden with the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. I was there in like the fifth row with a girlfriend of mine that I've known through high school and college. And I used to smoke cigarettes years and years ago in high school and college. I was a pretty heavy smoker. And I got walking pneumonia at Aerosmith, got so sick over a Christmas break from college that by the time I got better, I hadn't had a cigarette in like 2 weeks, and that's the night I quit smoking. So this show is actually the 30th anniversary of the last time I had a cigarette. And a lot of people, when they hear my voice, think that I smoke all the time, but I don't. I haven't had a cigarette in 30 years. The other concert that got announced, this got announced today. Shinedown announced a new leg of their Revolutions live tour. This time around, Papa Roach and Spirit Box are going to be on the lineup. And I put the whole show itinerary up here on the screen for you because there are 3 shows in New England. They are playing in Guilford, New Hampshire at the Bank of New Hampshire Pavilion. They're playing in Bangor, Maine at the Maine Savings Amphitheater. And they are also playing September 23rd at the Xfinity Center in Mansfield, Massachusetts. The entire tour goes on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. Yes, the same day as Aerosmith. This tour was actually supposed to get announced yesterday. But I think when they found out this was getting announced yesterday, they announced this today. So, yeah, lots of shows are getting announced for the fall and into the winter. I want to talk about last week's podcast episode 151 of the Mistress Carrie podcast featured Johnny Christ from Avenged Sevenfold. He and I talked a lot of basketball, and after the Celtics lost game number 1 against the Sixers in the playoffs last night, I might not get invited to be on Johnny Christ's podcast because he was like, if the Celtics and the Lakers end up playing each other in the finals, we have to do a podcast episode together. So we'll see what happens. But the new Avenged Sevenfold album, Life is But a Dream, comes out on June 2nd. And that is a massive day for music releases. Jelly Roll's album, the Foo Fighters album, Buck Cherry's new album, Bob Dylan's releasing music. There are a ton of albums that are coming out on the same day as Avenged Sevenfold. The new record comes out on June 2nd. They are also touring as well with a stop at the Xfinity Center, and we'll talk about the tour dates coming up. But if you didn't get a chance to listen to last week's episode, it's episode 151 featuring Johnny Christ from Avenged Sevenfold. Let me catch up with the comments. Keith says, I quit smoking on Thanksgiving last year. Congratulations. Let's see. Saw Slash open for Aerosmith a few years ago when he played Mamakin with the surprise guest Johnny Depp. Let's see. I quit smoking cigarettes 4 years ago, says Elsa. That is fantastic. Shannon says, I am going to the Xfinity Center show. Donna says, I saw Aerosmith when Guns N' Roses opened for them back in 88, I think. Let's see. I haven't had a cigarette in 10 years, says Lisa. 2 Florida dates, says Christine. Jonathan says, I got to catch up. I've missed a few episodes. Jessica says, my dad quit smoking cold turkey. I did too, but it was because I had walking pneumonia. Let's see. My first concert was Aerosmith on New Year's Eve in 1983. That's amazing. Peace out, Aerosmith. Peace out, Aerosmith members need to rest. Hines, they 100% do. And I don't think this is going to be the last leg of the tour. And the reason why I say that is that Joe Perry said that Joey Kramer is not going to be on this leg of the tour. Does that mean another leg is getting announced? Does that mean that the band's going back out to play stadiums next summer, maybe, before they finally hang it up? I don't know the answer to that question. I do know that this leg of the tour that they just announced finishes up at the end of January in Montreal, but we'll see what happens. So if you haven't checked out episode 151 of the Mistress Carrie podcast featuring Johnny Christ from Avenged Sevenfold, it's available now. I have been so excited to tell you who was on the podcast this week. It's an interview I've been trying to get for a really long time, and he was in Australia when we were able to find the time to do it. Episode 152 of the Mistress Carrie podcast features Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins. Now, coming up on Friday, the new part 3, act 3, I should say, of the Smashing Pumpkins rock opera Autumn comes out. The Smashing Pumpkins are also getting ready to go out and headline The World is a Vampire Tour, which has Stone Temple Pilots, Rival Sons, and Interpol on it. And I got Billy Corgan on the show, and we talked about a lot of stuff. We talked about his name and why sometimes he's William, sometimes he's William Patrick, sometimes he's Billy. He clarifies all of that in this episode. We talked a lot about why there's so much amazing music that came out of the 90s. We talk about that. We talk about songwriting. We talk about his voice. We talk about his battles with COVID, his parenting. There is a lot of stuff in this week's episode. I'm super excited for you guys to hear it. Sometimes Billy Corgan has been known to be moody or difficult. And we've talked about this in the past. Sometimes you just catch people on a bad day. And he was awesome. We had such a great conversation. He actually ran almost 10 minutes late from the time that we were supposed to have to talk. He was talking about music. He was talking about his songwriting style. He was awesome. So you got to check out this week's episode 52 of the Mistress Carrie podcast is available starting at midnight tonight. And it features Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins. And super excited for you guys to hear it. So They used to record in North Brookfield. A lot of bands did at Longview Farm Studios. Speaking of haunted places, Shannon says, my first concert was Cinderella, Dawkins, Slaughter, and Poison at the Tweeter Center. Seven Dust did, Cold Chamber did, Reveille did. Who else? Ice Nine Kills recorded at Longview Farm Studios. So a lot of artists have recorded there. It's not a recording studio anymore, though, I'm bummed to tell you. I can't believe Wednesday's just kind of sitting here on my lap this whole time. She wants to be part of the show, and there's no pug cam this week because we're in MCHQ instead. If you joined the show late, we're having technical difficulties with the War Room computer, so we're doing the show here in MCHQ. So if you haven't seen it, this is MCHQ, by the way, where I record the podcast and do a lot of the radio show stuff that I do. So episode 152 comes out at midnight tonight. Don't forget, if you subscribe to the podcast, not only do you get all of the full-length episodes every Wednesday, you also get the Sit Rep, which is 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, that breaks down all of your rock news, gives you all of the headlines in music and all of your entertainment updates in around 5 minutes. You get that Monday through Friday. And you should probably subscribe to the podcast if you haven't, because you never know when we're going to release bonus episodes. And I can tell you that there is going to be a bonus episode of the podcast that's going to come out either later this week or sometime this weekend. So you're going to miss notifications for the podcast if you haven't subscribed. Lisa says she loves you. I know, I love her too. So a bonus episode is coming later this week. I haven't recorded it yet, so I can't tell you who it is and when it's coming out, because there's always a chance that it could get canceled at the last minute. Outlets for the podcast. This is just some of the big ones. All full-length episodes of the Mistress Carrie podcast are now available on YouTube. That means all the sit reps, all the bonus episodes, all the weekly episodes. You can always listen at mistresscarrie.com. There's players for every episode. And you can get the podcast on so many different podcast outlets, and there are a ton of them, and all of these links are up at mistresscarrie.com. Locations for the podcast holding strong at 149 countries and counting. So we got to say what's up to everybody that is checking out the Mistress Carrie podcast from all over the world. Thank you guys so much for checking out the podcast every week and sharing it, especially if you've got Smashing Pumpkins friends, family members that are fans. Make sure you're sharing this week's episode because that's how the podcast grows. All right, want to go through some of the music news. The new Stained album is coming out in September. It's called Confessions of the Fallen. The new song is called Lowest in Me, and it's out now. Foo Fighters, they're releasing their new album, but here we are. We were talking about it earlier on June 2nd. The new song Rescued is available everywhere. Candlebox out on the road with Three Doors Down. Three Doors Down celebrating the 20th anniversary of their album Away from the Sun. Candlebox celebrating the 30th anniversary of their debut album, which blows my mind. They're getting ready to release an unplugged album called Live at the Neptune on June 23rd. That live album was recorded with all four original members of the band, and it was recorded at the Neptune Club in Seattle. The Muppets Mayhem, the new Disney Plus show, debuts next week. Part of the reason I bring it up, Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins is making an appearance on the show. We talked about what a diehard Muppets fan I am. He told me all about being on the Muppets Mayhem. It's on this week's podcast episode. So excited. Oh, just so good. He was really, really excited to talk about it. So, speaking of the Foo Fighters, they are headlining night number 1 of Boston Calling. That's coming up on May 26th. And a couple nights before that, they're actually headlining at the Bank of New Hampshire Pavilion, which is going to be their first live show with the new drummer. Whoever it is, we still don't know. They haven't announced. But Foo Fighters headlining Boston Calling on Memorial Day weekend. Big Night Live. Tarja is coming up on June 18th. Those tickets are on sale now. Tickets for all the Xfinity Center shows are available, and there is a whole list of shows, and the list is growing with the addition of Shinedown, Papa Roach, and Spirit Box on September 23rd. But everybody from Dave Matthews, this last week's podcast guest, Johnny Christ and Avenged Sevenfold, are going to be at the Xfinity Center on July 19th. Party Gras, Bret Michaels' Party Gras on July 21st. Godsmack and Stained on July 26th. Mudvayne on July 30th. Jelly Roll August 4th. Foreigner on August 5th. Disturbed on August 18th. Ghost on the 19th. Nickelback on the 22nd. The Offspring on September 3rd. And more shows are getting announced all the time. These shows. So Blink-182 ended up headlining Coachella. They are back. We're still waiting on an announcement about when the new album is coming out, but the reunion tour is hitting the TD Garden on May 21st. Queen and Adam Lambert have 2 shows coming to the TD Garden in October, the 15th and 16th. Avatar is going to be at the Paradise coming up on the 24th of this month. The Hollywood Vampires are going to be at the Wang Theater, the Box Center Wang Theater on May 31st. That, of course, features Joe Perry, Johnny Depp, and Alice Cooper. Godsmack sold out the Mohegan Sun Arena at the end of this month on May 28th. Coheed and Cambria are playing on the 4th of this week at Roadrunner. Extreme and Living Color are at Roadrunner on August 5th. Aaron Lewis at Foxwoods on April 22nd. He's also got some dates at Indian Ranch. All of the dates for Aaron Lewis are on the event calendar. And Greta Van Fleet is going to be at the TD Garden coming up on September 15th. The Palladium has got Wage War coming up on the 12th of this month. At the end of the month, Rival Sons are going to be at the Palladium. If you have never seen them, they are awesome. They are also touring with the Smashing Pumpkins on the World is a Vampire tour, but the dates, I believe, are up in Maine and at the Bank of New Hampshire Pavilion. Nothing in Massachusetts scheduled on this run. Weezer is going to be July 1st at the Palladium outdoors. Sleep Token is going to be at the Palladium indoors on September 12th. Parkway Drive announced they're going to be at the Palladium outdoors on September 15th. Did they sell Longview Farms, Lou? I believe it's just a private residence now. I believe that it's not a commercial space anymore and it's not a recording studio anymore. Let's see. This Thursday is Star Wars Day, May the 4th. Yes, it is. Let's see. Guys, we got to blow up Africa. Shannon means you guys got to help spread the word of the podcast, not actually blow up a continent. Jonathan says, New Stain, just in time for my birthday, one of my favorite bands. Chemo meds kicking in. Got to call it a night, says Brenda. Good night, MC and Wednesday. Brenda, keep up the good fight. Get some rest. Elsa says, how is Mr. C? Well, I did a private live stream with the Backstage Pass holders on Sunday night, and Mr. C made a surprise trip up here so that he could help me at the big gig. So Mr. C was actually at the big gig. Diva says, if you make the Muppets, you're amazing. Well, Billy Corgan made the new Muppet Show. Mark says, looking forward to seeing all of you this weekend. Me too, Mark. Absolutely. Let's see. Audio monitor. Okay. Mickey says, my first official concert was Kiss at the Providence Civic Center in 1978. Damn. Where is the loaf pug? She's right here. Let me move the mic back so she can she's just being a loaf. She just wants to snuggle. I'm fine with it. She's just sitting on my lap. Right, Wednesday. Loving the attention. Let's see. Kentucky Derby is going to be May 6th this Saturday. Yeah, I think I have a walkthrough at the Legion later this week. So we got to make sure that we got a TV on to watch the Kentucky Derby. Longview Farm veteran Bill Ryan has Fairview Studio very near where Longview was. Well, that's very good to know. Donna says, in Carrie's lap. I so want to see the Hollywood Vampires. So many shows, so little money. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Jessica says Virginia Beach had a tornado hit on Sunday. Mark says, Carrie, is there still a cash option day of entry for the event on Saturday? Yeah, I think the Legion is charging like $10 to get in because it's kind of a fundraiser for the Legion. So all of the money is going to the Legion. Christina says, Wednesday is sitting so nicely. I know. Marcy says, it's a little embarrassing, but the New Kids on the Block were my first concert and then Kiss. Marcy, it's all good. Christine says 17 days until Welcome to Rockville. Yeah, that's one of the shows that is on my bucket list for sure. So those are all the shows at the Palladium. The MGM Music Hall has got the Pixies, Les Claypool, Yellow Card, Noel Gallagher, Newfound Glory, Mastodon, and Gojira for 2 shows. Also Beck on September 5th. And the House of Blues has got Thrice coming up and also the Struts. So my first concert was Air Supply, says Melissa. That is amazing. Shannon says the other pug, the one I gave you at the big gig, actually, Shannon, it's up there on the shelf. And I would go and get it, but I have a loaf in my lap, so I'm not going to interrupt Wednesday's snoring right now. Jonathan says my first show was Loco Bazooka. Will says Godspeed Gordon Lightfoot. Yeah, exactly. Passed away at the age of 84 last night. The news hit late last night. All right, new music coming out this Friday includes Dave Lombardo from Slayer and his new album, Rites of Percussion. The Smashing Pumpkins releasing Autumn Act 3. Switchfoot releasing The Beautiful Letdown, our version. And Winger releasing their new album, 7, that was recorded at Kip Winger's studio in Nashville and produced by Kip Winger as well. Christina says my first concert was Whitney Houston. My first concert was a gift from my 14th birthday, and my twin aunts took me to see Lionel Richie and Sheila E. at the Old Worcester Centrum, and that was, I believe, October 14th of 1987? 86? Yeah, 14th birthday, 1986. And then my first rock concert was later that year when I saw Bon Jovi and Tesla. So there you go. Mail call. There wasn't any mail call this week. And if there were, they would all be upstairs because we had to make a game time decision and move the war room to MCHQ tonight because of the technical difficulties last minute. Elsa says, Travis, I'm doing so good. I'm going on Saturday. Not going because I don't have a babysitter. I don't have my son on Mother's Day. Elsa, you don't have to have a babysitter. It's family friendly. So you can come out if you want to bring the kids. That's totally fine. Ryan says, Billy Idol was mine with Faith No More opening on the Charmed Life Tour. Jessica says, I saw Green Day and Jimmy Eat World as their opening act. Christina, no cocktail because I'm down here in the war room. I don't have cocktails. And the cocktail books are upstairs in the war room too. Want to let you guys know that these Slate coasters are in. They are veteran made by one of my AAF to Afghanistan guys, and they will be available on site this Saturday at the Legion, but they're actually selling fantastic. They came out beautiful. There's a set of 4. There's little felt rubberized feet on the back of the Slate coasters so they don't ruin your tabletops, which you're trying to protect, thus the coaster. And the Cocktails in the War Room logo etched with a laser into the slate. So if you want to get them, they're available in the store. If you want to buy them in person, they're going to be available this coming Saturday. Yes, there is going to be merch available on site at the Legion. So come on by and you can grab your stuff. If you're celebrating your birthday today on May 2nd, you share your birthday with Lou Graham with It's My Party and I'll Cry If I Want To, Leslie Gore, and the guy with the most fun name on the planet to say, Engelbert Humperdinck. And every time I hear that, all I can think of is Humperdinck, Humperdinck, Humperdinck from The Princess Bride. And also Gordon Lightfoot. We always talk about those that have passed whenever we're talking about whose birthdays are today. Gordon Lightfoot passing away at his home last night, according to a family statement. Jessica said, my dad saw Cream in concert. Oh, Annie Ann's chiming in here in the war room saying she will be at the Legion. She's actually going to be there selling T-shirts with her Derby hat on. So we got to make sure we have the ability to watch the Derby at the Legion. My first concert was Alice in Chains at Foxwoods, says Elsa. If you don't have a Mistress Carrie backstage pass, we did our live stream over the weekend. If you got a backstage pass, I'll let you know later this month when we're going to do our live stream, because obviously the last weekend of the month, which is usually when we do it, is also Memorial Day weekend. So I don't know if I'm going to do it on the Monday night of Memorial Day weekend or what we're going to do, but I'll let you guys know later this month. You can also find out who's on upcoming episodes of the podcast before anybody else, and you have the opportunity to submit podcast questions. If you get a backstage pass, you also get travel blog updates, early access to concert events, concert announcements. The backstage pass holders get tipped off on super secret squirrel information. You also get merch discount codes, and you get access to exclusive concert ticket giveaways. And the backstage pass holders have more tickets coming up that you're going to have access to. And right now you got access to Tarja tickets for a Big Night Live coming up next month. All right, guys, here's where you can find me. If you want to download the Pike app, you can listen to the Pike Show wherever you are. If you want to listen to the show on the Bone up in Portland, Maine, you can download the Bone app. And here's all the places you can find me on social media. Wednesday is sleeping with her chin on the counter here in MCHQ right now. Wednesday. What? You want to say hi to everybody? Say hi. I'm not going to drop you. Don't worry. Come here. I know. You're such a sleepy pug. I know, Wednesday. You're so sleepy. Oh. Well, guys, apologies for the technical difficulties in the war room this week, but I need to get this thing figured out before the big shindig on Saturday. So once again, if you are a veteran, if you have friends that are veterans, if you're active duty military, if you've got veterans in the family, use this weekend as an excuse to get those people together. Join us at the Legion. It starts at 5. It's family friendly. The bar is on one side of the Legion. The room where we're going to be doing the war room is on the other side. There is going to be food trucks there. There are going to be concert ticket raffles. There's going to be all kinds of stuff going on. So you definitely want to come and hang out with us. All of the details are in the event calendar at mistresscarrie.com. Let's see. Happy unbirthday, Keith. Sorry, Wednesday. Sorry, we almost forgot Keith's unbirthday. Happy unbirthday, Keith. Keith's got no pants on, he says. Peace and love, rock on. Catch you on the flip side, says Melissa. Keith is working. Danielle says, Keith working and full-time school. Ben going plus taking care of my son by myself. Mark says, I'm coming with 3 other veterans. Donna wants to know if Shu is coming. Yes, he said he's coming. What's the address again? Hold on. Let me bring it up there for you. It is 267 Providence Street in Worcester. If you go to the event calendar at mistresscarrie.com, there's a link that'll help you with the directions. Heidi says, Mistress, have a great night Wednesday. I can't handle this right now. She's like asleep and snoring like a little baby. I have to do the sit rep. How am I supposed to do the sit rep tonight with her snuggled up on me like this? Right? Can you go if you're not in the military, Danielle? Of course, it's open to everybody. But a lot of military veterans have all of their battle buddies that they always say that they're going to get together with, and then they don't because life happens. So I want those guys to use this event as an excuse to get together with their battle buddies. But this weekend's event is available to everybody. I'm not a veteran. So it's definitely open. It's kid friendly. It's totally open to families. The American Legion does a lot with veterans' families. So it's not just about the veterans, it's about the families too. They do stuff around the holidays for veterans' kids. So it's totally family friendly, totally open to civilians. If you're a civilian, bring your whole family with you. Support veterans initiatives. Regimental Whiskey is owned by veterans. Andy Biggio, who wrote The Rifle, is a Marine veteran. There's going to be a ton of other veterans there. There's just going to be a lot going on. So definitely come and hang out with all of us. With bells on and pants, says Jonathan. Wear your blueberry cobbler shirts, Melissa says, if you got them. Just wear your War Room stuff. Whether you got OG War Room shirts, whether you got the new blueberry cobbler War Room shirts, whichever one it is, just wear your War Room stuff. I want to take over the Legion and show them the War Room family in all of its power and strength. So can't wait to see everybody this weekend. Right, Wednesday? All right, guys, we're going to solve the technical difficulties. I will see you guys on Saturday. And if for some reason you are not able to join us in person, we're going to do a bonus episode of Cocktails in the War Room starting at 7 live from the Legion. And you'll be able to join us in spirit that way. So, all right, guys, we'll see you guys later. Don't forget, episode 152 of the Mistress Carrie podcast goes live at midnight tonight with my very special guest, Billy Corrigan from the Smashing Pumpkins. Wednesday, say goodnight. Good night.